what is the agenda for today's talk? So as I said, this is going to be more like a personal experience, what things I have learned in like last 8 years working in Pakistan and German industry. And these are the common questions that everyone asks when they want to get into the games industry. That is like, how to get into games industry. That like, if you Google this question, you will find tons of information. So it's not going to be something like super out of the blue that I'm going to talk about. It's going to be the same thing that everyone is talking about because these are the best practices. And then the question was like, what industry is looking for in the candidate? Because I'm also involved in the hiring process when we hire Unity developers. So what we are actually looking into the candidate, when I give interviews to other companies, what they are looking into candidates. So this is my personal experience and the things that I have learned over time, like being in Germany for 5 years. So I will share both my perspective of being in Pakistan and being in Germany, how it was different, and what exactly you can work on if you want to work in either of the industries, for example. And yes, the importance of technical degree or skill. So this is like a millennial question nowadays because Elon Musk somehow said that degree is not important. And everyone went crazy over this, that, oh yeah, we don't have to do the degree. But I have a different point of view on this. So I will talk about that and why it is important and what difference it can make in your CV or in your personality when you're going for a job. And then we'll talk about the portfolio, communication skills, and community building. And the rest is my personal experience. So let's go to the next slide. Yes, how to get into games industry. So before anyone is talking about, okay, how to get into games industry, or you ask your question, okay, to a mentor or to someone in professional environment, that how I can get into game industry, you should ask yourself these questions, like, do you have passion for the games? Because no matter where you are in the whole world, the games industry is run by passion. So that's the first thing that drives everyone to actually work into games, because it's not as easy as like simple journal software engineering. It is a very complex software, and in order to be in games and to stay in this game industry for a longer time, you should have passion so that it can actually motivate you to stay in this one. So you should always ask yourself, do you have the passion for the game? Do you really want to work in games, or do you have some different type of motivation to be in this industry? And then what do you like to do the most? So most of us, when we actually just graduate, or we're just studying in bachelor's, we want to say, oh yeah, I love playing games, but do you really like to make games as well? Because there's a different scenario. So for example, I love making games, but my husband loves to play games. So like he's like super into gaming, he's like a pro gamer, but he's not into developing games. So you have to see like, what do you like to do the most? Ask yourself this question. So it will make it easier for you to actually decide which area or which specialization you should focus on, because everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. And yes, that comes to the third point. You should ask yourself, what are your clear goals? What do you really want to do in the games industry? Because there are tons of, I would say, jobs available worldwide, and there are so many specializations that you can choose from. You don't have to be only developer or designer. There are other jobs as well. You can be community manager, you can be product manager, you can be engineering manager. You should know a lot of things about, like there are other things as well. For example, about the community and project management. So you don't have to be really technical just into like, the same like a software engineer or like a designer or an artist, but there are other jobs you can also be in. Yes, I forgot QA, yes. You can also be in the QA, quality assurance, because that's also one of the most important jobs in the games industry at the moment. So you have to decide what you actually like to do the most. Then next comes the relevant skills for the jobs and the position that you're interested in. So not everyone is made for every job. So this is something you should really ask yourself, communicate with yourself, and be clear about it. Do you have the right skills for a certain job or not? Because not the same skills can be applied to the same job. So for example, for game designers, it comes with experience, because game designing is really a new field at the moment, like from last 3-5 years. It's never been there before, so there was no position like a game designer, but they were mostly like software engineers or artists or project managers. But then there came a boom of, oh, game designers. Who is a game designer? Who's going to decide about how the gameplay is going to be? So there are so many things related to that. But most of the game designers that are in the industry right now, they're like super experienced people. They're coming from software engineering background. They're like full technical people, or they're coming from as an artist, or they have been just playing games for so long that they are so good at game designing. So you have to see what your relevant skills are, and if you can map that into the position that you're interested in. So ask yourself these questions. And then the last is, do you have what it takes? So being in game industry is not easy. It has its own challenges. we still are struggling with that diversity, especially when it comes to women or it comes to the other genders. But we are working on it. We all are working on it. No matter you're in Pakistan, in Germany, in Europe, in the world, everyone is struggling with that thing. So you have to be sure that do you have what it takes? If you have the right passion for it, you can stay in the industry for a longer time. The average time from IGDA surveys are that people mostly stay in games industry for 5 years or 7 years, and then they just leave. So you have to be sure if you have the right passion for it, do you have what it takes to stay in the industry for a longer term? So these are the things that you should ask yourself before you move to other things like, okay, how should I get into industry exactly? Because the tips are going to be the same from every recruiter that you talk to, no matter in Pakistan, in Germany, or all over the world, because these are some general rules. But these are things, if you're clear about them, then you can step into the right, I would say, path. So my tips. So passion. Passion is the first thing that you should have. It will keep you motivated to work because working in games, as I said, it's not easy. It's the most complex software to work in. And being in games industry means that you should have knowledge of every each and bit of the things that are involved in the process. So you should be passionate about it. So you are always learning and you're motivated to move forward. You should learn relevant hard and soft skills. So everyone focuses on hard skills. Like, okay, for example, I'm a software engineer, so I will always talk about engineering. So for engineering, I know I should be very good in programming. I should be good in object-oriented programming. I should know the concepts of how the game dev works. I should know about the linear algebra, algorithms, and everything. But when it comes to soft skills, most of the engineers, they are really bad at it, unfortunately. So you should also focus on your soft skills because they're as important as the hard skills, especially in 2020. Having hard skills, like a really good programming, but not having soft skills to communicate with someone, it's not considered really good. So you should work on both when you are actually learning and you want to come into the games industry, especially. And then comes build a strong CV. So this is something everyone will tell you. It's all over the internet. Yes, you should have a strong CV. But what does it mean to have a strong CV? By strong CV means you should have your relevant experience listed down so that when the recruiter is looking at your CV, they understand, okay, yeah, this person maps to this job perfectly because they have this experience. So you have to alter your CV. I can actually talk about the CV only for, I would say, for an hour, but I will just make it short so we can have it in the QA as well. You should have your relevant experience according to the job. So if you're applying for a job of software engineering, you should have the experience related to that. But in the software engineering, we also have a lot of specializations. Like, are you an Android developer? Are you an iOS developer? Are you a Unity developer? Unreal developer? You should have the relevant skills so you can map them. There are some skills that we can easily map from one skills to another. For example, Unreal people can work in Unity. Unity people can work in Unreal. That's not a problem. These game engines have the baseline the same. The concepts are the same. That helps. But if you are an Android developer completely, if you're going for another job, for example, for Python or for C++, do you have the relevant or enough experience to actually work in that? So you have to always map it. So for the recruiters or for someone who is looking at your CV, it is easy for them to understand, okay, yeah, this person can actually be fit for our job position that we have opened in the company. And the other thing, which I learned when I came to Germany, is that one page is enough. Being in games industry especially, you don't need to have a big CV of 4 pages. When I came to Germany, I had 4 pages CV. That was stupid. But then I learned I should just have 1 page CV, and then I made my portfolio. So because in games industry, if you apply for a job, what they look at first is that, oh, does the person have a portfolio? That's all. Your CV, whatever you have written in all that full page, it's going to be on the side. If you have a portfolio, they will look at that first, because your portfolio actually tells exactly what you have done in the past. So make your good CV, 1 page is enough, and have a strong portfolio. So about portfolio, I will talk about it later. And have a business card. So that's also something that helps you when you are actually meeting someone, like a professional person, or even in the mentoring session, or you can say online sessions. If you are meeting someone, you can just give your contact to them so they can actually remember you, or just leave an impact on them so they remember, okay, yeah, this person has done something. Maybe this person will be useful for me in the future. So that comes with the networking and communicating. So have your business card ready. Everyone who is graduating, especially for students, once you graduate, have your business card ready, have your CV ready, and have your strong portfolio. By strong portfolio, I will talk about it in detail. What do I mean by that? Then at the end, build your network. That is super important. In the games industry, especially in Europe, it is important to be connected with people, because that's how people actually know each other, and that's how they will remember you and they will refer you, and that's how it gets easier to get into the industry. Once you know someone, when you share with your knowledge with them, they will remember, okay, I met this person in a conference and he's looking, or he or she is looking for a job. And once you apply to that company, they will know your name. You can ask them for a referral as well. So it is also important to build your network. The last thing, do your research. That is something comes directly from a hiring point of view. People often apply, but they don't know what they're applying for. So you always have to do your research. That's the things that you learn in your colleges, your graduation degrees. So you should do your research. You should know that I'm applying for a certain job. Does a really company fit into what I'm doing or I have been doing? Do I really know about the company a lot? Or I just applied because there was a position open? So you really have to match, because when you go for an interview, luckily you get an interview. So this is the thing that's going to help you a lot, because the more you know about the company, the more good impression you're putting on the recruiter to give you a job. Right. Next, what industry is looking for in a candidate? So that again it will be again the same thing I talked before, but in a different way. So for example, from an industry point of view or a hiring point of view, what we are looking for in a candidate, you should, if you're applying for a game dev job, no matter game designer, developer, QA, project management, product management, or community managers, for example, you should have knowledge of game development. You should know how it works, the process of game development. There are tons of books available. There are so many material available online. I will also refer some books at the end. But you should have knowledge of what you're getting into. Read about it. Understand the industry that you're getting into, because it is one of the toughest ones. Then having an experience in the tech industry. If you already have been working in industry, you don't have to really have only experience in, for example, only gaming. If you have experience in software engineering, or if you have experience in, for example, simulations, or if you have been working in film industry or comics, or you have been artist for 5 years, any sort of skills that you have, which can be, you can say, converted to the field that you are looking for now, the current position. If you can apply the same knowledge to the next field, that is important, that is helpful. So if you have experience in tech industry, that is always a plus point. So don't worry about it that you don't have experience specifically in making games. Any professional experience which you can defend, that you can apply that knowledge to the next job, is helpful. Again, then what we look for is relevant hard and soft skills. So hard skills, again, you have the knowledge of the technical tools that you're going to use if you're a 3D modeling or animation person. If you have the knowledge of the languages we need to use in the, for example, Unity, Unreal, or any game engine that you're using, or maybe some companies have their own engines, so maybe C++ is super important in that case. And then the soft skills. Soft skills are like, if you can present yourself, if you can talk to your team members, because working in gaming is not that you are just sitting on your computer and you're only person who is working. You have to communicate with your team, and that is super important. The more easy it is for you to communicate, the more good you are a team player, because you can understand the problem and then you can find the solution. So it is important to focus on your soft skills. And again, what we look for is relevant portfolio and academic projects. So when we say portfolio, does not mean that you have been working in industry for, like, say, 3 years and you have done 6 games or 10 games or really big games, doesn't matter. Even if you have academic projects, if you have worked in your very good juicy projects in your bachelor's or master's that you can put into your CV, do that. So over time, I would say my personal experience, over time, my CV has evolved a lot. When I graduated from bachelor's, my CV only had my academic projects because that was my strength at that point. So I did put all the things that I did in my bachelor's, all the projects related to gaming or simulations, I did add them. As soon as I got the experience, I kept on changing my CV, because then I have to put more relevant things in my CV for the next job that I'm looking for, or next switch that I'm looking for. So keep on working on your portfolio. You have to work on it. Like being in gaming, that is the most important thing again. So if you have a relevant portfolio, you already have a plus point in all the candidates who have applied for a job. Then comes volunteering and community person. So why volunteering is super important in Europe? So because the industry is big as compared to Pakistan, I would say, so the important thing is that people know you. So when you go to the conferences, you go to the events, and you volunteer, you give your time to the community back, and you meet people there, it adds really a lot into your CV, because then people know, okay, this person is doing something out of their comfort zone, not just focusing on money, not just focusing on the factor to get a job, but they're also doing something for the community. They're helping the community. And in return, they're actually asking for feedback. For example, you can ask people you meet in the conferences on your portfolio. Like, can you please tell me if my portfolio is nice? If I'm an artist, for example, if I'm a software engineer, you can send your game or small demos to the person you met in the conference or in any industry professional space. So that is also important. If a person is already doing community work and a person is volunteer, it shows that they have good soft skills. It shows that they are doing something out of their comfort zone, and they are a team player, and they are also working for the community. So it adds a plus point. As I said, do your research before. So knowledge of company and profile work. If you're applying for a job and you go to an interview, recruiter calls you and you don't know about the company, it is a bad impression. So you should know the company, because that's the first thing they look into you. So they will just ask you, have you read about the company? Have you seen the work that we are doing? So if you've already seen that the company is working in mobile gaming or VR games, or they're doing AAA or any type of games, you already have a knowledge of that. And if you have played that game, that will add a huge impact on your CV or your profile as a whole. When you're talking to a recruiter, just discuss with them, oh yes, I have played your game. That was good. I felt that we can do this better. And you can also give your critic, because that is also a plus point. That's not a bad point. So just know the work of the company. Then comes last, the two important skills that will actually take you to the next level: leadership skills and management skills. So often people, they also come with the soft skills. So often people just think that having a really good technical knowledge is enough to get a job. Yes, it is enough. But if you want to excel in the field, if you want to go next step, you always have to work on your leadership and management skills. And again, I would say, if you are doing something out of your job, like apart from your technical work, for example, going to conferences, volunteering for the community, arranging some events, you already learn these things: leadership skills and management skills. Some people are born to be leaders, some people learn it over time, but that's not something that you cannot do. So if you also have it, it's also a plus point. So focus on that. Importance of technical degree or skills. So that is something, it's like a hot topic after what Elon Musk said and everyone went crazy. So my personal opinion, my 2 cents, because I'm a big fan of studying, because that's what actually helped me to get into the industry. Because as I said, most of you are from Pakistan, so I would definitely say, being in Pakistan, we don't have the same type of exposure that the people will have in US, Europe, or anywhere else. So for us, being in Pakistan, it's important to get our first hands-on experience or first exposure and technical skills when you go to a university. So having a degree is important. So you cannot compare yourself, being a student or being a graduate or fresh graduate, you cannot compare yourself with a person who has been living in US or I would say Germany or Europe as a whole, because over here, the culture, the work culture, and the brought up is very different. So here, people are more independent even when they're 17 years old. They can do all the jobs. They can do everything on their own. But we know the society is different in Pakistan. So being there, we don't have the same exposure as the people in the West. So for us, it is important to focus on the technical skills and get it from a technical degree. Yes, there could be exceptions, that there is someone who has done some online courses, for example, from Udemy, Udacity, and they have learned data science, for example. Nowadays, data science is also really a hot skill to have. It's not in the gaming as explicitly, but it's a very good skill to have. So people can learn that. But you can also learn something like Unity at home in 3 months boot camp. But there will always be a difference between a person who has done just a boot camp and learned this hard skill, like just to know how to work in Unity or make some 3D models. But there will always be a difference in someone who has graduated from university. The way that person will be able to manage things, the way that person will be able to deliver the work will always be different from someone who has done a small diploma or has done small scale. I'm not discouraging people who cannot go to university, but I'm just saying that if you can, it is very important and it really helps you. So you always have to look at your circumstances and you have to move forward with that. So being in Pakistan, again, I would say, if you can go to university and if you can get the degree, it is important. What most important is that when these companies like big fans like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Elon Musk, when they all say that degree does not matter, what they actually mean is that if a candidate is coming and they have 5 degrees, but they don't have any skill. So degree does not really means that you have the same skills. Yes, some people can just get the degree, but they don't have the right skills. So those people actually will not fit into their company. So what they meant is that even if you have a degree, if you have skills, you're good. If you don't have skills, then your degree alone has no value. That's what it is. So just focus on your degree. If you get a chance to go to university, learn all these things. Because what it helps you is that it helps you in problem solving. So we get into a lot of problems at the university when we are a student. We have to solve those problems on daily basis. So it helps us to solve those problems, and the same thing you can actually implement into your job profile. Once you go into professional environment, you will again face a lot of problems every day, from hard skills to soft skills, from your professional to personal problems, from your stress management. So all these things actually help you. So focus on that. It will help you to become a good professional at the end of the day. So what my 2 cents are, what you actually learn from university is problem solving, hard and soft skills, project management, time management, stress management, research opportunities, which is a big, big thing. So as a software engineer, I would again say, if I'm just learning a skill, I know C++, C#, blah, blah, blah. I know a lot of languages, but if I cannot do research, if I just know the syntax, right, or I don't know how to solve a problem, I don't understand the research, like how to actually do the research to actually find a solution to the problem, then I'm no good. But as compared to me, if there is someone who actually knows the technical skills as well, he is not super good, I would say, in C++, but the person knows how to solve the problem, know how to research and find the solutions and the relevant things that could actually make this problem more optimal, solve this problem more optimally, then that person is better. So that's what you actually learn, and that actually helps you. Then lastly, exposure to real problems. So we face a lot of problems when we're studying, and once as a student, you grow with that. From the first semester to the last semester, you're learning everything and you're going forward with it. That really helps you when you go to the professional environment. Importance of portfolio. So why it is important to have a good portfolio? As I said before, games industry looks for a portfolio. If you have a portfolio, your CV will be on the top of the pile, because there are so many people applying for the same job. What makes it different is that if a recruiter can actually see your portfolio right away, they will already be impressed by you. No matter how good your CV is, if you have worked on amazing games, but if you could not provide your portfolio, they will probably not look again on your CV. So it's better to have a portfolio so they actually know your potential. They can see how creative you are. They can see how good your technical skills are. Depending on, again, there are so many specializations in gaming, so I cannot generalize, and I cannot actually specifically say that, okay, you should have these technical skills. So I'm gonna just generalize and say, okay, yeah, it will show your creativity, it will show your potential as a whole of what you're doing, of what your experience is in the game development. Again, diversity in tech stack. By tech stack, I mean if you're a 3D modeling person, if you're an animation person or rigging person, you should know your stack. You should know what sort of tools to work on, what is the demand in the market, if you can work on it, and just show your portfolio, show your skills. And if you are in a software engineering or an engineer background, you can also do the same thing. But now there are other fields as well. For example, project management, product management, and QA. So all these people can also show their portfolio. If they work in a company, they can show that, okay, they have worked on these games and they understand the process. So in your portfolio, you can also either put the links of all the games that you have worked on, or what you can do is you can, if your company allows, if you haven't signed any NDA, for example, so you can also put your games links and the process that you follow to actually solve a problem. For example, for a QA, what sort of test you were writing, what language you were using, all the technical tools that you were using, you can talk about it. You can write that as a story in your portfolio. That also helps. Okay. All right. So communication skills. That's one of my favorite, I would say, because this is something I used to lack a lot when I was in Pakistan. I have learned this over time. It's kind of a muscle that you have trained yourself. Why it is important? It is important because when you're going to a company and you're working with them, you will meet a lot of different people. They're like diverse people with diverse background, different cultures, different languages. Like, for example, in Germany, people mostly speak German, but I only speak English. So for me, the communication was the key to actually convey my message, because otherwise, the problem that we're working together in a team, like team of 10 people, if I'm not able to communicate myself, I'm not able to tell them, okay, what exactly is the problem, and this is the solution that I came up with, then there will always be a gap, and then your performance also gets affected with it. So this is a skill I really worked on, and it actually really helps you in your professional environment and also in your personal life, because you can actually be a better in negotiation. When you're going for your job, you can actually negotiate with your boss for your salary. You can also negotiate with the other team members. If you have a conflict with them, you can talk them out. You can talk with them about the problems that you are facing. For example, technical problems, you can find a solution, and why your solution is better, you have to convince them, you have to convey with them. So these are the skills that you have to really work on. This comes in the soft skills. As I said in the start, soft skills are super important. So it is important because it helps you in team building. And in the games industry, being a team player is more important than just being a technical person. So you have to be a team player, because you're just not working alone, you're working with 10 or hundreds of people. So you have to be really good in that. So it also helps you build strong relationships in your work environment. You can actually clearly convey yourself. And if the message is clear, then obviously then there is no problem. And then the solutions are also good. And it is also definitely professionally required that you're really good in the communication skills. That's what I felt that most of the students lack when I was studying back. Maybe the things are different now, but that was something I thought that it is important to talk about, that how to actually improve your communication skills. I can also talk about it later as well, that how building community actually helps you improve your communication skills, because you meet a lot of people, your confidence levels changes, and a lot of people actually help you to build the skill as well. And the lastly, people skills are very important. So being in industry, and if you want to climb the ladder, if you just don't want to be a technical person who is just an entry level, and if you really want to go and manage people, people skills are super important, because you have to learn this skill, that how to make sure that your message has been conveyed properly, and if people also understand that what do you want them to do. For example, being a leadership position, I'm in a lead position now, so I really have to communicate with my team members on daily basis. I have to make sure that they do the work, but I have to also make sure that I don't, kind of, what's the right word? Be a boss to them, like, always pushing them to do things, but also be very nice to them. I understand their personal problems, and I also make sure that the work is also done. So this is a hard skill, but you have to learn it over time. Then comes why it is important to have community building and networking. As I said before, games industry is community. It's working on being a very strong community. I haven't seen any other industry which is that close and which is that much working into networking and community building. Everyone is super sweet. Everyone is really nice. They want to help each other, because this industry is working really on the relationships, on strong relationships. So it is important to actually volunteer. It is important to work for the community, and it's also important to network and stay connected with those people that you have met somewhere, anywhere in the conference, and maybe they will help you one day to get a job referral. Maybe they will be able to help you in a project that you want to do in the future, or maybe you want to start a company, they can be your co-founder. So it is important to stay close to those people that are working in the community, their industry. So again, people skills are very important. Volunteering really helps you, it's a plus. You get to meet industry professionals, which is the first step for you. When I came here as a student, being a student is very good in Europe. You can actually go to a lot of conferences, it's quite cheap. So what I did was I took that advantage and I went to a lot of gaming conferences. Since 2016, I'm attending all the conferences. And that actually helped me to the point that I now actually go as a speaker as well. So that's how you make connections. So you build from a small portion. So you have to work your way to it. Make your community, make strong connections, and those people, actually the industry professionals that you meet, they all are very open, they are very friendly, they actually help you understand what you're doing wrong. For example, if I have a portfolio and I show it to a person in the conference, they will tell me exactly, okay, this portfolio is nice, but yeah, maybe you should work on these parts. If you have an art portfolio, like as an artist, it is super important to get a feedback. So that's your best chance. Go and show it to people. I know there are a lot of platforms that we can already show it online, but it's also important to get in-person feedback. That really helps you. And lastly, referrals for the job. Being in game industry, if people already know people, it always helps to get a job. So do that if you have time to do it. Okay, that's my 2 cents again for the e-learning. So because there are tons of learning platforms nowadays, and thanks to coronavirus, everyone is offering kind of free, I would say, sessions. So these are my favorites: Udacity, Udemy, Coursera, Unity Learning Academy, because I work in Unity engine, and then LinkedIn and Product School. So these all have tons of available resources that you should look into. There's so many free courses that you can start with. You don't really have to pay $300 or $400 for one course. First, start with the free tutorials and build on top of that. Just see how good you're getting into while you're doing all the tutorials. And if you need to go for a more professional, then you only pay for the tutorial. So as a student, I know it's a bit tough, but you can always start with the free courses, and there's tons of help available. So do check these out. This is your first, I would say, platform to learn about the tools that you need for the game industry. This is just about my experience working in Pakistan and German industry. So that's the first thing I learned working in both industries, that if someone is planning to actually work in German industry or want to come here, I would just say the most important difference I have learned personally working in Pakistan and German industry is, in Germany, people value time a lot. A lot. That's like the first thing. Everyone's time is important. No matter you are going for a meeting, no matter if you have to deliver something, time is important. That's the first rule: value time. And then communication skills. Obviously, it's a different culture. The communication skills is also important. The culture is different. So things that, for me, I would say to someone in Pakistan will be super clear, because we both are from same society. Probably will not be same when I talk to a German. So it is also important to have good communication skills so you can convey your message in a professional environment and also in a personal environment. What else I have learned is that in Germany, it's very strictly professional attitude. When we are working, we are just working. We don't indulge into any personal, I would say, things that I have to do. For example, I have to learn 5 different courses that has nothing to do with my job. I wouldn't do that at my job time or in my working hours. So it's like strictly professional, and that's something really good. I have really liked it because it really helps you to be productive when you're in your working hours, and then when we are free, you can do whatever you want. And also in a professional attitude, it means that once my working hours are over, no one will contact me and disturb me when I'm going home. No one. That's kind of a strict rule here. So that's really good thing I liked about working here. And yes, the other thing is always learning and exploring. So being in the office, working with people here, they're always learning. They're always learning. So there is no stop to learning. No matter if you have 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience, everyone is learning new skills. And that really helps because you're still building your profile. You're still growing because in the tech industry, everything is changing every day. So you always have to learn, no matter and which I would say status you are in your company. For example, a CTO, CEO, still you have to keep on learning because that helps you. And the last thing is everything matters. Everything matters in a way that no matter what your job is, no matter what your position is, for example, if you are just getting into industry and you're just, for example, junior software engineer or a junior 3D modeler or animator, it matters. Everything matters. And everything that you do to climb that ladder matters. So don't take it on heart that you haven't jumped right away into a position that is your dream job. Dreams don't come true in one day. So you really have to work on it, take your time for it, and it will eventually come true. You just have to work hard for it. So everything that every person is doing, it matters. No matter if you think that you have done a small game, a very small project, you think that, okay, yeah, it's not really good. Often we get into this imposter syndrome when we doubt ourselves. That it's not really a good project. I should not put it on my portfolio. No, everything matters because you have to show your learning curve that you did a project. It was initially like this, and you learned something and you're improving. So if you're improving every day, that's good. Put it in your portfolio because that shows your strength. So yeah, that's all I would say. Okay, the last thing is I want to show you a video. Just a second. The video is about how to get into games industry. So that's a video that came in February 2020, I think, if I'm not wrong. That's a really good video. Let me play it. I'm not sure if you will be. Can you confirm me, Sadia? Can you confirm me if you can hear me, or otherwise I can just share the link. Can you hear the this video?
Yes, we can.
You can. Okay, right. That's perfect. All right, then it's good.
Oh, but we can't hear the audio of the video.
You cannot hear the audio of the video? Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay, then I will just share this video, or you can just actually Google it. It's one of the, I would say, it's the top tips that you need to have, and that's exactly what I talked about over the whole time. But again, listening from massive recruiter, that will be a huge impact. So I would suggest that every one of you, please watch this video. These are the top tips, and that will really help you. But at the end of the day, it's us. We have to really work on us. There are so many tips, there are so many material out there. I know it gets overwhelming at times, but just work on it and we will get there. So yeah, just I will share the link as well on the chat once. All right. Okay. What else we have here? Yeah, the last is the resources one. So again, for these two questions, you can just watch this video. That's the best one. And for the books, I would recommend. These are my personal books. Like I have all of them, and I really love them. I'm a software engineer, but still, it actually really helps to understand the game design as well, UX design, because I work in a neuroscience research center. So I really have to understand how, because we're doing gamification VR, so we always have to look at, okay, all the gamified solutions. So we really have to follow all the gaming pipeline. It's just that the game design is a bit different. We are solving a problem, a real problem. But the thing is, it's good for us to understand that how actually it works. So I would suggest for game designers, these two books, they're really good. And for programmers, all of them, I would say these are good. I don't have game design more books because I'm not a game designer, but having knowledge of all of these things is super important. And I just keep on learning from these books, because whenever I have to give a new interview, or whenever I'm stuck in a problem, because it's a muscle. You have to train yourself. If I'm just working on a VR solution for, I don't know, 6 months, and I will probably forget the basics of a lot of things that I have not used. So it's important to just keep on practicing it. So, and it's not possible to just be a know-it-all. You always have to learn, and you always have to grow. So that's my last slide before we move to the QA. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope it was useful. All right. Sadia, over to you. Hello? Okay, does anyone have any questions? Because now we can take the QA session. If you can just raise your hand, that will be better. I'm not sure how to see your raise your hand thing. Just a second, how to open the chat.
I think people can unmute and ask questions.
That will work. Oh, okay. All right, so let's go with Hamida first. Maybe Hamida, do you have a question?
I'm so happy that I saw all of this presentation, especially these books, because I'm really interested in gaming design personally. And I feel like all of this information was much needed for me. My question is, in terms of learning how to use Unity, I actually have the software with me, but I don't know how to use it. What kind of tips or resources can I have to learn how to go about using the software as a beginner?
Okay, for Unity, I would personally suggest that you just follow what is given on Unity Learn. So I can open the.
Is it a free platform?
Yes,
we get free resources?
Yes, it's free resources, and they're really good. So this is unity.com/learn. So they have started it like a few years ago, but this is one of the best. I would say every time we have a new software engineer or someone who is joining the team, so I just tell them to please join this. There might be some courses that are a bit expensive, but they're mostly advanced courses. I would otherwise suggest just go with this one. You will have everything that you need to know here, and that's really good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I think I'm gonna start with that.
Yeah, you can start learning with that one. Apart from this, they have Unity manual. If I can open it. It depends. Do you like to have actually video tutorials, then you can look for video tutorials. Otherwise, every information for Unity, like Unity has one of the best tutorials actually, so you can find everything here. So depending on which version you're using of Unity, if you're using the latest one, so they always have like versions here listed here. You can choose one and then you can just work on it. And it talks about everything in detail. So these are the ones that are more, I would say, what to call it?
Oh, that's
The website based, web versions. So they're not tutorials like video tutorials, but they have all the explanations. It's the manual, but they are also, if you go to the tutorials of Unity, as I showed before, learn, Unity learn. So yeah, I think they're doing the same. It's the same manage. Yeah, you can find here everything. Okay, so create your first project, 20 minutes. They're like free tutorials, so you can find all of them, and they're really good.
oh wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm gonna start learning this in the
Yeah,
next few weeks, hopefully.
sure, perfect. And if you need any help, you can always contact me.
I will personally send you an email later on and take
Okay,
some of your time to help me with my project.
okay, sure, no problem.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you.
Oh. All right, so do we have any other question? Anyone who wants to ask something, please, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Okay, hi. Um, I have a question that I'm working in VR technology at
Mm-hmm.
Fraunhofer.
You're
So
from Bonn, right?
yeah, I'm from Bonn.
Okay.
So currently, I'm looking for my thesis project, and I would like you to
Mm-hmm.
guide me. How can
Mm-hmm.
I have one in um, Unity, because I'm working since 2012. I started my internship and then I worked on educational games.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came here, then I started working at Fraunhofer on VR technologies. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right now I'm looking for thesis. How should I proceed and how should I look for it,
Okay.
especially in industry? Yeah.
Industry. Okay. So the first question, yes, exactly. My question would be the same thing. If you are looking for a thesis, is it like more research-based thesis, or do you want to look for an industry thesis like in a game studio?
I would prefer industry based, like not research
Industry based.
based, like yeah.
Industry based. Okay, perfect. So my suggestion for that would be because first you have to go to the conferences because that's where most of the industry people are, and there are always people. I have personally talked with a lot of game studios here, like Ubisoft Düsseldorf. I think you can easily go to Düsseldorf because that's really near to you. Um, Over there they do offer thesis, master thesis, and you can get that. What you have to do is you have to personally go and talk with them because there are so many people who actually want to do the thesis. So first they actually want to understand what sort of thesis you want to do. If you want to do VR, for example, Ubisoft Düsseldorf is nowadays doing VR. They have made their escape room for Assassin's Creed. So that is something you can talk with them. But first, I know as a master's student in Germany, your thesis cannot be just like that you want to make a game. It's not possible. It will not be acceptable by any professor here. Your thesis has to be research based. And the game studios, they don't really are looking at like really high end research problems. They are mostly, obviously, they are making games, so they will just be doing some AI and a little bit machine learning, but they're not doing really extensive work in the research. So what you can do is you have to talk to with one professor at your university, the one you want to work with. For example, you're saying VR and Unity, but VR and Unity is not the criteria for selecting a thesis. Those are just the tools. So what you have to look for first is what's your research questions. So if you're interested, I would ask you if you're interested in AI, machine learning, then I can help you. We can talk about the topics that you can get into for in the gaming for a research topic. Or if you're interested in a software engineering problem, like if you're a developer, like you can then talk about some optimization problems, which you can do by making a game, a small demo in one of the engines, or in any company that is making, for example, Ubisoft have their own engine. So you can talk with them. So you have to first look for your research problem, and the tools comes later because that's the last stage. So from the university point of view, define your research problem, find a professor that you're really interested to work with. For example, you should know what your specialization is going to be. If you talk about that you're interested in VR, when it comes in human-computer interaction, then you can make a solution or a research thesis that will be more focused on how to make more user-friendly or more user experience-based game or simulation that actually could be maybe for disabled people or something like that. Because there are so many research topics that you can do in the VR by using this technology, but VR itself, a thesis is not a topic right now in the industry. It has to be something with a human-computer interaction or user research that you can work with. Did that make sense?
It clarifies quite a lot. So basically, the points are like I should look for the research-based problem, and then I have done machine learning, and I'm doing in this semester game AI. So
Okay.
it does make sense to relate both of these things together, and then work on the technology to solve the problem. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Once you have defined your hypothesis, like what do you want to solve using machine learning or AI, like using machine learning, people are working a lot on 3D modeling right now, like how to train your NPCs, like non-playable characters. If you can work on that, that is super interesting. And then you can just use any tool. You don't really have to work with a VR, because VR is just to make it more immersive. To make it more immersive, then you have to think about what sort of game that you want to develop. So that will be like too much for a master's thesis. So you also have to think about your scope, that where do you want to define it, okay?
Yeah, we must like set a clear expectation regarding it so that it finish up in 6 months at least.
Yes,
It
exactly.
shouldn't
So,
be like going. Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, so Muhammad Rafi Faisal's mic not working, but he just asked a question. His question is that what are the perspectives of Unreal Engine in the gaming industry? As I'm currently doing a course of Unreal Engine, what are the perspective of computing and the field of IT in Germany? As I was really interested to applying abroad. Sorry, my mic is not working.
Okay, so the first question is about Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is huge. There is a big market for Unreal Engine. If you're an Unreal Engine developer, you're already doing well. Don't worry about it. It's a big market. Most of the PC games, VR is now taking over by Unreal, because Unreal performs pretty well when it comes to the rendering part. So yes, there is a huge market, especially in Europe. I'm not sure about Pakistan. I'm sorry. Maybe Sadia can answer that better. And the second question is about IT and computing. It's a big industry, like it's a really big industry, German industry. So yes, there is a huge market. I just, if you have a very specific question about what sort of specialization in IT and computing, that you have to be specific. Otherwise, I can only say that yeah, it's a huge market and there's a lot of potential, and there are so many jobs.
Okay, so Syed Haider Ali asked that can you recommend a free C# book related with Unity for a beginner?
Yes, I have some books, PDFs downloaded somewhere in my Google Drive, so I can share with you guys, if that's okay. Copyright issues, but yeah, I can share with you. Or I can recommend you the names, then you can have it. I hope so they will be available everywhere in Pakistan, so yeah, that's fine. I can recommend you one. I don't have it right here, but
you can always share it with me, Asma. I can forward them when I'll be sending them the feedback form and stuff.
Okay, sure, perfect. All right. Next question.
Abdul Basit wrote that as someone start a new startup, what do you recommend them? How to sustain that startup? How to come out of failures? And more importantly, sometimes it feels like we shouldn't quit the startup and go to the job industry again, which is again not an easy task for an entrepreneur. How to survive in a startup of game development studio? What is should be a preference of entrepreneur?
Okay, I'm not an entrepreneur yet. I'm actually looking into myself. I want to start my studio here. But what I have learned so far is that patience, that's the first key. Being in games industry is tough. We all know that. Having your startup in the game industry, that means you really have to work hard. So the first 2 and 3 years, you should be actually working on your product. So there are 2 different models that you can look for. So one is you need to have a sustainable resource of money coming in. So for that, you can work in the services based. So you should provide services to other game studios worldwide if you have a good portfolio and if you have really good employees, like good talent pool in your company. So then you can work on the projects that it generates money for you. So you have a sustainable, resource coming in. And the other thing is that you should work on your product. So being in game industry and showing an impact, you always have to have your own product. It is like a good thing. Not, I would say always, sorry, not always, but it depends on your business model. If you want to learn more about the game industry and you want to stay in there and have more impact, just work on your product, something that you really like to develop. do your research, work on the game design, that is super important, and work on your product for 1 to 2 years, because then you can have a polished version which you can actually be proud of and you can show it to other people. So that will be sustainable for you. It's tough in the start, obviously, because you need to have a sustainable resource of income coming in. For that, you can work on the projects. And the other question was, did I miss something? Talia, can
No,
you
I
repeat?
I know. I think it's pretty much everything. But just want to add a little bit to this, Abdul Basit, since I've been running the startup in Pakistan, and that is too in the game industry. It's not a very easy job, because you have to really understand that not everybody's business model is same, and not everybody can sustain in the same way that other people are. So for you and yourself, I would always suggest that start with a small, even if you're going to work on a product, start with a product which you can finish within a year and also launch it, because the earliest you can actually test it out, that how your product is working, how your business is working, it gives you a lot of chance to improve and change the way you're working, and it also helps you to learn your own business model, because there is certainly no one business model for anyone. There are many companies in Pakistan, game studios, who do clientele work as well. Some do local client work, some do international outsourcing work, and then they side on the side they start making their own small products as well. So this kind of a business model has been very successful, because creating your own product in the games is a very big risk, because there is no guarantee of success. And if you just put on your all eggs in one basket, if you lose, then you'll feel very disheartened, and that can really lead up to maybe not being able to really generate any money, and then you can shut your startup. So maybe you should need to find a balance, that maybe you can start working with some client work and some revenue that is continue flowing into your startup, and then side by side you can have start making small products, until unless you have a very big investment for your product. Because if you don't have an investment and you're putting in your own money, it will run out at some point, and then you may have to rethink that how you're going to take this. Otherwise you can also maybe take a little bit look of already existing good companies in Pakistan, which are like currently operating in, and what kind of a business model they have. Do they operate purely on services model, or they operate to purely on product development? But I definitely would tell you that except some few big studios that in Lahore and in some of Islamabad who are working on product based work, not a lot of people just work on totally product development work, because making just games and launching them, especially reach of we have very less reach of publishers, and the marketing and the outreach to the international market and stuff. So it becomes really hard for your game to succeed. And also when we are starting up, it's not always that our first game or first idea would be super hit. So just that's it. I hope I answered a little bit of your question.
Thank you, Sadi. That was perfect. That was all really relevant. That was really good. Okay,
Acha,
next question.
I think the Moise Maxi has raised hand.
Um,
Hello.
Moise, if you want to ask a question, please.
Glad to attend this session. Uh, Actually, there are two sides of game designing. One is like designing it on any tool, and other is more like bridge between artist and developer, like mapping the game, its core mechanism, its economy, and all these things. So I'm basically currently working on that. So is there any future in that in Pakistan? I came with a lot of ideas, but how can I modify them? Like there is not much help available on internet. There is no content, you know.
Sanjay, you can answer that better.
I'm sorry, it was really low volume. I can't really hear the Moise voice.
Okay, I can repeat it. Uh, I said there are actually. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
So there are basically two sides of game designing. One is like designing a game on a tool, and other is like a bridge between artist and developer. Like mapping the game, its core mechanism, its economy, its camera angle, and all these things, like a director do in a movie. So I'm basically working on that. So is there any future of that in Pakistan? Because on internet there's no content available, much content available for that, that they can help. I came with a lot of ideas for game designing, but I don't know how to modify them or come to exact point. Uh, I hope I can.
So, Asma, are you answering this question?
I think you can answer it better because it is relevant to more Pakistan industry.
All right, so Moist, so one thing is that designing the game ideas or having a game idea is like something that like game design, having a game design and having a game idea is a different thing. And if you even have like a lot of good game ideas, until unless you transform them in a really good game design, the game design by saying really good game design doesn't mean that you actually create an Assassin's Creed type or maybe a triple A game kind of a game design. It's all depends, like you always have to work within your constraint. You may have some kind of a team, you may have some people, some resources available. You may not be able to like make any kind of a game, or maybe like you have to estimate like what is your budget, what's your team skills are, and then according to that you plan a game design or you pick up a game idea and you try to make something really smaller. And because we have been in this loop and I've seen people getting in this loop where the game design or game ideas are really good, and when they convert them into the game design, and then it becomes too far and it's become too big that they cannot really implement it, or may they never finish it. And I've like, even in my previous session there were many people who told me that they started many games and they never finished it because it always went ahead, it become really big and their budget ran out and they never be able to maybe try to focus that. Instead of that you have too many game design ideas or so many great game design ideas, but you are unable to map them or create into a good mechanics. Then first find out that what your team skills are, what kind of a good mechanics you can implement, and according picking up from there, and then you try to figure out that what exactly and the what best thing you can make using those mechanics. There are many ways that you can actually generate game ideas or transform them into design. You don't really have to always start with the game design. A lot of people even start making their games from understanding what kind of a game mechanic they want to target, and then from there you can actually maybe just little bit with the help of. And also that game designing is a huge process, it's a huge learning, and it takes time to learn that as well, because not it's not easy or it's not very simple for everybody. For every game, the game design process, the game design methodologies and all this, there's so much to learn. So maybe you should start learning, like I think that the book resources that Asma has put, The Art of Game Design, is a very good book. It actually helps you to understand that like how to transform the ideas, and there are like some formal elements of the games which you should really think about before you even start making games or transforming the game mechanics or anything. If you just like look into this book, I know it's not very easy to like finish the entire book or something, but I think especially just try to look at the formal game elements of the game, and then you can, once you read that, you'll be able to understand कि आपके गेम डिजाइन आइडियाज के साथ और इसके अंदर जो उसके गेम एलिमेंट्स हैं उनको किस तरह से गेम डिजाइन में कन्वर्ट किया जाए, and then you can go for the development and see that. And also the best part, the important part basically is that actually do try to test out your game and make sure that you share your game design ideas with other people and see that how they react or how they like. Try to find out your target audience. Keep it as narrow as possible, because the wider range you choose, the wider genres you choose, the wider mechanics you use, it becomes more and more complex to actually make that kind of a game, because game in the end should be really fun, but it keep it simple. That I think, I hope I answered your question. If
Yeah,
there's anything.
that makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
Okay, so there's like the Rafi asked another question. If somebody is not in the gaming industry and doing bachelor's in IT or computer science, how to enter, and what are the prerequisites to join the game industry for pursuing a career?
I did not do my bachelor's in gaming, so I only did bachelor's with Sadia in computer science. So we both are from computer science. So actually, if you're a computer scientist, you have actually I would say the more chances to get into the games industry, because you will be an engineer, which is like the core job of any game studio. They are always looking for engineers. So in order to get into game industry, as I said, it's my whole presentation. So if you are a software engineer, if you're in IT software engineering, if you have the tech knowledge, in order to get into games industry, as I said, start with these books right here. These are like the best books you can have. They will help you prepare for, so this one, Cracking the Coding Interview, it helps you prepare for interviews, because that's like more logical thinking, analytical thinking. This book is also used in Google. So this is one of the best books in the market. So it will help you prepare for any interview in any game, any industry actually. So this is the best book. Look for this one. It is not syntax based, like yeah, it has to be C# or C++. It is just about analytical thinking and solving a problem, because that's what you will be dealing mostly as an engineer in a game studio. And mathematics and physics for programmers, this is really good for game programmers, because you need to know these logics and everything good that goes here. Linear algebra, again, this is what you study in your bachelor's, but you should work on it. You should know the vector maths. That's the first thing. Then programming game AI by example. This is, I would recommend, because I work in also AI, but I would also recommend this book because it helps you understand different scenarios. As a programmer, even if you're not an AI programmer, because it depends on your studio, game studio size. For example, if you're just like a team of 10 people, everyone will be working on all the engineering scenarios of the game, for example, mechanics. But only if you're a big studio like a AAA, then yes, there's a specific AI programmer, there's a specific backend programmer, there's a specific animation programmer, and a gameplay programmer. But in small studios, like indie studios, an engineer is doing everything. So it is important to understand all these aspects. Then the last one is game programming patterns. Read this book. It has a lot of good patterns that you can use in the game programming that will be helpful for you. And apart from all of these books, you have to first start making your portfolio. As I understood correctly, you are doing your bachelor's, right?
Yeah, bachelor in IT.
Yes, exactly. So that means you already have time. So just start reading these books, prepare yourself, make your portfolio. And for the portfolio, as I said earlier in all the presentation, why it is important to have portfolio, because that's what industry is looking for. It will really add plus to your CV. Once there's a candidate who has a portfolio, who has worked on some games, like small games, as Sadia said, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be really a huge game. Don't aim for something like really big. That's the biggest fault of most of the, I would say, newbies, like who are getting into industry. We also did that we always think about, oh yeah, I want to make a game like, I don't know, Need for Speed, you know? I want to make a game like this. The mechanics should be like this. No, it is hard. There are so many people involved in making games. So you have, if you want to get a job in industry, you should show your potential. For example, as an engineer, I can show my potential by working on small game where I can actually put a lot of juice in my programming, rather than thinking about the 3D model should look like this, the animation should look, no, it doesn't matter. I'm applying for an engineering job. They're not going to judge me based on how good the 3D model is. They're not going to judge me how good the animation is. They're going to judge me how good I could program the gameplay. So you can just take PixelArt, just take small cubes, like just in Unity or Unreal or any engine that you want to choose, it doesn't matter. In fact, write your own engine if you can. So there's also a book for engine programming. I don't have it here. I can also share that with you. So if you want to learn how to do engine programming, you can also do that in C++, in C. So being a programmer, that's your juice. That's your actually most important thing that you should show to the recruiter. So as an engineer, you have the most edge to get into games industry. I can actually share this presentation also with Sadia later if someone has missed in between the session. Maybe that will help.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if there are no more questions, then it's okay. That's good. You can always contact me on LinkedIn. That's fine. I prefer LinkedIn, please. So let me open my LinkedIn.
Yeah, please share your LinkedIn profile. So yeah, I just want to say, I think we are all good. So thank you, Asma, for your time, and we will share this lecture on the YouTube. and we can all and Asma's actually profile links are also available on our Facebook page as well.
Yeah.
So you can access from our Facebook page, or even our on academies. There is a Asma session is also on our website as well. So you can actually, and Asma just shared her LinkedIn profile as well. So you can always, if you have any question, you can always ask her on that as well. Thank you so much, Asma, for giving us such a good time. And as I kept calling you Asma, I don't know why, because I also have another person Asma, and it's just like got stuck, sorry. And so thank you so much, Asma, for this. And I think we all are good with all the questions, and if you want to follow up, you can always follow up on the LinkedIn. We will share this on the YouTube, and you can go ahead with the session again. If you missed any detail and you find any other question, you can always ask later. And hopefully we will have another session with Asma in the future if she feel like and have some time. And thank you, everyone. Bye from our side, and have a good Ramadan and happy Ramadan to
Yeah.
everyone.
All right. Thank you so
Bye.
much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.